Why doesn't Pokemon print more? Are they stupid? Hello, my name is Innovate. I have a master's in business administration, and my dad's a truck driver, which gave me the idea for this video. So, a lot of people have a very valid question. Why isn't Prismatic Evolutions being printed as much as it possibly can? Why am I not able to find it? Why is every time that I go to Target, Walmart, or any store, I cannot find enough Pokemon? So what I've come to the conclusion as to right now, as to what I believe the manufacturer of Pokemon is currently doing in the United States or in any other country, is that they are not perceiving Pokemon as a simply an item that you can leave at the store and it's totally fine. That is not what Pokemon is to them. The reason that they're thinking this is because they've run into a lot of situations where they've had to sell their product at a very discounted amount. You can think about it post-COVID. A lot of content creators, a lot of people have mentioned how post-COVID, the amount of product that there was really, really insane. The benefit for Pokemon for that era, for that time frame, is that they can acknowledge how much was too much. That being a very close demand to what it is right now. And it's still booming. We're still going up, by the way, comparatively to COVID. But that's important because they are no longer thinking about their product as something they have to do insane amount of production or manufacturing for it, because they can acknowledge that if we print too much, we are going to be in a massive slump post this bump, post this bull market, post whatever, right? So because my dad's a truck driver, he was telling me of how he was dropping off chicken, and it hit me. Pokemon is no longer thinking about their merchandise as items that you don't ever have to think about again. Something that you can think about that would be something reasonable would be a Rubik's Cube. So a Rubik's Cube is always going to be a 3x3. A manufacturer can do millions and millions and millions and adapt to that demand. On the other hand, for Pokemon, since there's different expansions coming out over the course of the year, there is a certain time frame where you want to be sold out. There's a certain time frame where Pokemon does no longer want to have any stock left over. That is something very important for Pokemon and something that they themselves want, or something that they would be concerned about. Because if there's still product available of their previous expansion on release day, it shows that they're not meeting the correct demand. If there's a little sprinkles of the previous expansion, perfect. But they do not necessarily want a big chunk for the retailers to still have, because then their new expansion, retailers cannot hold on to that new product because they still have that older product. It's like food. You cannot buy 1,000 more apples if you still have apples, but it does go to waste as well. You have to think about it as apples will go to waste. Same thing with Pokemon cards will go to waste. The reason for that is that the valuation of a collectible will go down tremendously if it is easy to get. If it's a idea, it's a weird thing about us humans that if it's really easy to get, we don't want it. And if it was available everywhere, we wouldn't want it. And that's weird, right? And it's a very odd thing for Pokemon to be in, because they cannot simply over print. You cannot simply have it on shelves at all times because it is a collectible. The more rarity it has, the better. The reason that some rarities are very defined when they have their prints, and it's not provided to us, but we end up figuring it out. But the certain rarities that are given to specific cards is important. Anyways, let's go ahead and flip this. Pokemon cards are logistically closer to food items. They have an expiration date. They do. And it's, as I was mentioning, the expiration date is going to be closer to the idea and the perspective of what is the expiration date for food. It doesn't have to necessarily be apples, but things that do have an expiration date, such as milk, eggs, a lot of foods, right? Even foods that last a long time, like Oreos or things that are super, super processed, right? Even those things have expiration dates. And if the company still has that product by the time they've reached that expiration date, which is usually the next expansion, and that's the complicated situation that they're releasing so many new expansions that they do not have to have leftover. Think about it. 3 months. Prismatic Evolutions battle partners. 3 months within each other. A lot of expansions are not being released within 3 to 4 months, and that is insanely complicated to run it or think about it logistically, if you're thinking about it as the same way as food. The food can only be there for 3 months, but I also want it to be sold out in 3 months. Now, there are, of course, special situations. For example, for the Terrestrial Festival or Prismatic Evolutions, my bad. I've been doing so many Japanese cards. For Prismatic Evolutions, we already acknowledged that there's going to be product until November. But the thing is, it's going to be different products every single time frame from now until November. That's going to be simply the release of that expansion, and it's a special set. So there's not necessarily booster boxes similar to the other boxes. But they also want to create this sense of scarcity, because by creating that sense of scarcity, that expiration date, you're giving people the idea that they have to go buy it now. So yes, Pokemon is going to say, hey guys, we're going to print more. And they will. They flat out will. They are going to say, you know, if 1% means that it's a lot, that is still saying that we printed more. You can easily say, hey, we did our job. We printed 150% more at 150%, and that would still be a lot. There's a lot of logistical problems at the same time as to how much print they can possibly get, but Pokemon wants to make money. They can acknowledge that they themselves want to print a buttload, but they can also acknowledge that post-COVID, they had a lot of over inventory, and they do not want to be in that position. They've also seen it from their previous expansions before we got to this bull market of seeing where they're at. They do not want to overproduce. They do not want to over manufacture, but they will. They might. And it just depends on when the bull market ends. But it's better to be cautious from the perspective of Pokemon than to be bullish from the production perspective, because if you overproduce, you have to throw away your overproduction, because it's like food. It's a collectible. I don't know if you guys have ever heard horror stories of the fashion industry. It's very similar to the fashion industry as well. In the fashion industry, if the company has excess at the end of the season, they're told to either throw it away or burn it. Guys, that's sadly how similar Pokemon is. You cannot have excess. You do not want to have excess. Of course, I don't think that's we're not burning things or we're not destroying Pokemon cards right now. I think they have too much long-term value, right? People will eventually buy them and hold on to them. But I'm giving you an idea of how there's a lot of other industries that Pokemon might be looking at right now and trying to get ideas from. I wouldn't be surprised if they've called someone from manufacturing in the fashion industry. I wouldn't be surprised if they've called people from the food industry to give them ideas as to how to interpret the bullish market that they're currently in. I do not believe Pokemon does not like money. At the end of the day, that's the whole quote of this whole video. Why doesn't Pokemon print more? Are they stupid? No. But they have to be cautious. There's a lot of money that could be lost. There's a lot of money that they're making right now, and that's good. But it's better to make money than to lose money. And I think that's what a lot of the Pokemon manufacturing company, or a lot of the manufacturing, is thinking as they're doing a lot of the production for the cards that we totally love. So be aware, Pokemon is being cautious, and I think the cautiousness is going to continue before it gets better, simply because they do not want to overprint. And again, it's going to be a repeat. That's the idea. That's the concept. If you're curious about more, feel free to comment, and I'm more than happy to talk about it even more. Thank you for being here. Bye.